E na mana, e na reo, e na iwi, e ro rangatira ma, no mai, hare mai, piki mai, whakato mai. We'll start with a short karakia. Me inoi tatou. Ngā mihi o te rā ke te whānau e hui hui nei, kia tau te rangimarie, kia whakatapoa tātou me ngā mei, e whakapono ana tātou, humi e, hui e, taiki e. Kia ora, ko Sacher toko inua, he kai whakahare ko papa ahau. I'm Sacher, I'm a project manager with Huye Community Aotearoa, and I'd just like to welcome you all, and I'll hand you over to your amazing facilitator and my colleague, Rania.
Ngā mihi nui e hoa. Tēnā koutou katoa, kua hui mai nei ki tēnei hui huinga. Nā mai, haere mai. Welcome everybody. We've reached our final session in our spring webinar series here at Raupapatanga o Te Kōanga. So really big welcome to all of you who've joined us for today's session, but also for the previous sessions in this series. So our kaupapa today is team tools for not-for-profits. So I Kawaio, so who am I? No tia mana ahau, engari kei te whanganui atara tōku kāinga. I tai mai au ki tēnei whenua te kaumari matau ki muri. He nui tōku aroha ki Aotearoa I mihi ana ki te tangata whenua I whenei. Ko Ronya Ivers tōku ingoa, he kai whakahaere kaupapa ki Huye Community Aotearoa. So I come from Germany and now live in beautiful Wellington on the south coast. I arrived here about 15 years ago and just really wanted to acknowledge the people of Aotearoa. My name is Ronya Ivers and I'm one of the other project managers at Huye Community Aotearoa. And for those of you who don't know who we are new to Huye, so we are a peak body to champion and tautoko the mahi of really all of you guys, so of our tangata whenua community and voluntary groups in Aotearoa, New Zealand. And I'll guide our session for today. So first up, te mea tuatahi, just a little bit of Zoom housekeeping. So you've noticed we're recording this hui. We do that with all our online hui so that we can share it later with more whānau and friends. And you'll also find our recording on our website later on. So I'm sure you know the drill, so please remain on mute while others speak, and that'd be great. But also feel free to unmute yourself if you have a pate to one of our speakers throughout the sessions as well. So we'll allow time to ask questions after each of our speakers. So really encourage you to use the chat function to make comments, posts and links, and to post pathway as well. So you can unmute or post them in the chat. And please engage with us as much as you can. If you haven't done so already, we'd love to hear from you where you're tuning in from, who you are and who you're with. And yeah, pop it in the chat if you can. So our webinar series is an opportunity for peer-to-peer learning, and this time we really wanted to provide you with a special series centered on finding the best technology tools for you and your team. So over the last 3 sessions, we've seen some real value in sharing what others are doing in the space and how they find working with a particular tool. So today we're looking at 3 tools. We're looking at Office 365, Slack, and Asana. And those tools can really help you organize tasks and collaborate and communicate with your team. I want to acknowledge our partner for this series, the NZ Navigator Trust, and Barbara is here today. So NZ Navigator Trust is a small committed charity and they equip community groups with online tools. So they run, apart from NZ Navigator Trust, they also run a platform called Digital Stuff We Love, which is kind of a register for all sorts of digital tools for not-for-profits. So I really encourage you to jump on it, have a browse around and see if there's some tools that, that you want to try out. You're also welcome to post feedback on particular tools that you're using on the website. so that it gives other people an opportunity to see how the tool is being used and what for and how useful it is. We're also really grateful to our kai kōrero, our speakers, all of them coming here to prepare and share the knowledge and experience with us, what tech tool really sparks their fire and how it makes their lives easier running a community group. So in Aine, now I would like to introduce our first speaker, Vishal Rishi. Vishal is the director of the Asian Network Incorporated. As part of his current role, Vishal is actively involved in advocating for the advancement of Asian New Zealanders by having representation on boards and committees of various significant NGOs regionally and nationally. So Vishal will be talking about Office 365. Really excited to hear from you, Vishal. So no mai haere mai, over to you. And yeah, please.
Kia ora koutou, everyone, and a very sincere and warm greetings from Wellington. Actually, I'm just visiting Wellington for a couple of days for another task, but I will be flying back to Auckland, but in the same city as Ronya today. Nice to meet you all. And I would like to acknowledge the Hui team before I start, and also the speakers, because it's not easy to put together all these tech tools into 10 minutes, fit in together. So we might need more time, but I think I'll try my best to be as quick as possible so that you can have best of out of my limited experience in Office 365. And nice to see another Bob whom I know from last few years, and the new Bob whom I met just today. Kia ora koutou. Tēnā koutou katoa. Okay, I'm going to just share my screen now. Just bear with me, please. Yep. Right. So this is who we are. I'm not going to spend any time on who we are, but we're a Pan-Asian community organization working for the broader Asian community residing in New Zealand on their public health issues and improving their access to public health and social services from last 20 years, actually, yeah. So I'm going to share with all of you today about 8 very standout benefits of using Office 365. Prior to switching on to Office 365, we have tested and tried some other online cloud-based platforms, but I think coming back to Office 365, it's amazing. It's amazing and much better than a lot of other portals which we have been using before. I think I always say, Ronya, COVID has taught us too many new things. So I would like to thank Mr. COVID that due to the COVID, I think we are managed to learn new things in this new world. So these are the 8 broader categories I'm going to focus on today, but very quickly, only single sign in for each user is required. So I'll just go to the next slide, which means previously in our team, if we have a team of X members, each team member has their own local machine, desktop. They used to use a different login to get into the machine. Then, for example, we were using G Suite prior to this. Then they will have to log into the Gmail or the G Suite to have access to other tools and other kits. So which means there were multiple logins were required that time when we were using other portals. But in this one, the easiest one is it's only one login and sign in password you would have to remember, which means on your machine, if you log in with the same username, one password, that's it. And you have been given access to all the associated products in one go. including your local machine. So it is on as well. So I really like that particular ease of using only one password. Second, very important feature is access files anywhere. As we all know, this is a cloud-based service. So we can access it from anywhere seamlessly. Why I always say there are lots of other provisions already there which might be really good and provide equivalent services. But the standout thing for this particular tool was my files appear in the same pattern as they would appear on my desktop, even if I access it from anywhere else. But in other products, what I have noticed, my files wouldn't appear, or the folders wouldn't appear in the same order or the same look. It was a different look altogether. So
well, hopefully he'll join us again in a moment. Just a quick question to those in the room. Is anybody using Office 365 at the moment?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kia ora, Rania.
Hi, Alex.
Hi. We've just recently, at Kibosh, we've recently moved to Office 365. So what Vishal had already said about the benefits, we versus Dropbox and Google before, yeah. But we are needing more training on all the different apps.
Yeah. Cool.
I use it as well, Ronya, and my I set it up for my small business, but so I don't get the benefits of not-for-profit pricing and things, but it's revolutionized things for us in our little business in terms of people that are traveling and accessing things. It's not an easy thing to set up, I think, probably, and it's probably a wise thing to pay for some help to get you set up and trained to make the most of it. But there's a fair bit of training material, but it's very Microsoft-like, which is not always easy to, maneuver.
And so, Barbara, while I have you here, and we're waiting for Vishal to come back in, your Digital Stuff We Love platform, do you have some information on there that links to some training opportunities?
No, I don't, but it's a really good thing to think about. And yeah, I will. Good idea. Because we've really thought about, because we're in this early stage of it, we've really thought about it just being the tools and pointing people in the right way. But it's actually a very good idea, Ronya. I'll put my mind to it.
Great. And Mary, you were just asking about NGO discounts. So actually Office 365 is free for NGOs.
yeah.
Right.
Oh,
hi.
sorry.
Nice to see
Sincere
you
apologies. Sincere apologies. I don't know what happened. I was out and I was talking and not sure up to what point I've covered.
But I see.
Yeah.
Let's just continue here. That'd be great. Thank you.
Yeah. So it's a secure cloud storage. Of course, Office 365 is a totally secure environment with robust security measures in place, like two-factor authentication. So if anyone tries to log in with using your username or anything from anywhere else, or even from your own office, on your mobile, you will get an authentication whether you approve that person. Even an IT person would like to work after hours on your computer or to do an upgrades, you will still get a notification, and you just need to approve that. Only then that person would be able to get into your system. So it has got a very high security mechanisms in place as well. Of course, business continuity, if it is cloud-based, accessible, but limitation is, of course, every time the internet is a requirement. I've just added that point because we have just seen how dependent we are on the internet for, especially with the any IT tools. So that is kind of sort of a limitation in a lot of cloud-based services. We are unable to do anything if the internet is not good. So that is a prime requirement. So business continuity, of course, it automatically backs up your files and sync with the cloud every time. As soon as you finish the product or finish any work, it starts syncing. No matter what happens to your physical devices, your emails, files, data are safely stored in the cloud. Exchange also has recovery features, which mean individual emails or even entire inboxes can be restored if needed. The fifth benefit, which I liked, was improved communication, sharing file seamless with lots of other associated products within Office 365. For example, Teams. Teams is another app that comes in as a pack and parcel of this particular product. And Teams can be used to internally communicate with your team members, whether they are sitting in the same office or any other part of the world. But what does that mean is you need not to attach big files to your emails all the time, so that will clog your emails later. And email capacity is always limited, and then up to a certain amount you have to buy later. So probably I would suggest if you're using very heavy files, big documents, presentations, and just start sharing it through Teams within your team. So that will be like saving you a lot of cloud space for your email spaces here. Automatic upgrades, yes. All the essential apps such as Word, Excel, Outlook have included in the 365 are automatically updated all the time. We need not to keep paying them if a new version comes in. So it is, pack and parcel of the package. And the expense of buying the new software is also eradicated because we need not to upgrade it, as I just mentioned. Seventh, another important feature for this is centralized collaboration. Office 365 lets you share mailboxes, calendars, contacts, and edit documents. So multiple team members can work on the same document at different times. So as I mentioned, it is automatically saved. So the link can be created, which will make that particular document accessible to other team members you would like to share the link with. And then those people can keep working on the same document, and it will be automatically saved in the same place. So multiple people can work and collaborate together. So which means everyone can see what is happening in that particular place if I want to make any changes to any particular document. So SharePoint is a very key feature which I really liked, and very easy to share. Just select the file you want to share, right click on it, and just press share, and then the automatic link will be created, and you can send that link to whomsoever you want to share it with. The eighth and the last very good benefit is predictable spend, which means we know how much this is going to cost for the whole year for one person. But if we are all working for an NGO registered charity, then as Ronya mentioned before, it is a free product that can be ordered from TechSoup, New Zealand as well. And also up to 10 licenses we can order, 10 email accounts we can create for free of charge. And I think some comes in, they have a different levels, like how many megabits of email space each member would require. So, but it is really very cost effective for smaller NGOs as us, so this is working really very well for us. So only when all contribute the firewood, they build up a strong fire. We all have a role to play. This is my favorite quote I always use, but I'm just open to any other questions about Office 365. There's a lot of features I would like to speak and cover and demonstrate, but just due to the time limitations, I've just put in the key things there. Oh, hi, Sam. Sam has a question.
Yeah, kia ora, Vishal, that's great. Let's jump straight to Sam if you want to ask a question, Sam. Just unmute and.
Thanks, Ronia, and thanks, Vishal, for your presentation.
Pleasure,
You said
Sam.
prior to this, you were on G Suite, which was, I
Yeah.
guess, the Google Suite that is offered.
Yeah.
What was a marked difference you saw between the two? Because I'm
Oh,
using
there's-
G Suite, and it seems to be pretty much have all the features that you mentioned with
Yeah.
365. I just wanted
Yeah.
to know what was a marked difference that you noticed.
Yeah, look, we were on the G Suite for a longer period of time, about 4 or 5 years. But prior to that, we were on Office, we were using Office products. But G Suite is, if you open their Excel sheets and other things, it's quite different to the traditional Excel sheets designs which we used to use. And the look and feel that appears on the desktop is not the Office Outlook as we use the Office Outlook along with G Suite. You know, it's a bit different. That is what most of our team members have felt. In even 4 to 5 years, every time I have to give them a lot of hands to understand a lot of features of G Suite. But for this Office 365, we have been using for 1.5 years now, and I have hardly given any hand to anyone to understand the features because it's so simplified and very simply explained. It's just your own preferences, you know. Yeah, and also the G Suite was becoming very expensive for us, and there wasn't that time when we bought the G Suite. There was no free licenses or the subsidized licenses given for NGOs. So that was a very big difference. We were you know, paying quite a lot for G Suite to our IT people. Yeah, that was. These are the key two differences. Yeah.
Thank you.
Looking to get a very simplified website quickly set up for that one. So we don't know where to go to. But it is quite easy when I spoke to you to find such resources, and Bob also shared some key points there. So definitely, I think we haven't got any easy access to such tech tools and services, but I think after today, we shall be having more cohort and accessible services probably through you guys. Yeah.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
If anybody has any more part-I questions about Office 365, pop them in the chat because we are going to move to our next speaker. But ngā mihi nui ki a koe e hoa. Thank you, Vishal, for your kōrero and for your time with us today.
Kia ora koutou. Thank you, Ronnie, and thank you, everyone. Thanks.
So our next speaker is Rahil Indorewala. Rahil works with Hyperdexter as their CRM lead, but more importantly, for the purpose of our session today, he's the founding member or one of the founding members of the Youth Leadership Council, Ngā Rangatahi or Māramatanga. So Rahil will be talking about Slack and how this awesome tool helps him collaborate and communicate effectively in his mahi. So no mai haere mai, Rahil, over to you. Really lovely to see you. And yeah, Slack, one of my favorite tools. So hopefully I'll learn something today.
Well, thank you very much, Rania, for that wonderful introduction. I hope everyone can hear me clearly. Cool. Thank you. Right. Hi, I'm Rahil. As Rania mentioned, I work at Hyperdexter as a CRM lead. In my day-to-day role, I do interact with a lot of applications and different tools. And G Suite, one of them. I know Vishal is recommending something opposite to that, but I find it quite easy because it's cloud-based, which Microsoft did quite a bit later than Google had as well. So, but yeah, not getting into that today. I will be talking about Slack. Also, I'm not as organized as Vishal. I haven't prepared a presentation, but what I'll do is I'll share my screen and take you through Slack in terms of how I use it in my personal work in terms of when I'm dealing with the Youth Leadership Council members, but then also I'll try my best to share how I use at work as well. And obviously I will highlight point of differences in terms of when you have a paid version of Slack and when you are using the free version as well. Cool. I'll start sharing my screen. Let me know if everyone can see it. Cool. Right. All good? Right. Thank you. Now, this is Slack. If you want to jump in and log into Slack, the best way to do it is you just go Google Slack, log in. That's the best way to start off using Slack. And then select the first one which comes up and then log into Slack from there. You can use your existing accounts like Google to log into Slack as well. Once you have logged in, you have got your profile, it will prompt you to download the Windows app. So this is the Windows application. I've just put it to Zoom and full screen. But this is the Windows application that you can download for Slack once you've logged in. It's a tool which you would use to, say, collaborate with your colleagues. You can use it for just general messaging via your work. Also have got specific groups for specific interests that people have set up. So for instance, you can see channels on the left-hand side. I'll get into that in a bit, but you can also direct message anyone that is part of your Slack group as well. So for us, these are all the members of the Youth Leadership Council that we have added to them Slack. If you want to add someone, you can use the option add teammates and then invite people. And when I select invite people, it will give me the ability to add their email address over here. Or I can also do is I can copy the invite link and then share it with them over a message. That could be a general message, or if you're using WhatsApp, you can also send them the link on WhatsApp and they will be able to join your group on Slack. You can use Slack for a lot of different reasons. As I said, you can use it to message to your colleagues, but you can also do is you can keep notes for yourself. So if I want to say, for instance, I have something that I need to do for, say, prep for YLC meeting, I can just put a note for myself. And that's a note for myself that I can do. So I'm basically having a conversation with myself in that regards. So you can do that. And how it helps me sometimes is because I send myself a message and put it as mark as unread. So then I know that I have an unread message that I need to attend to. And that is how I would use it. If I'm wanting to message, so I'll pick on Yasser, and I've already told them I'll be spamming these guys when I'm doing this demo. So I can do a normal conversation with Yasser. Hey, how are you? I can also do as what Slack calls is huddle. It's a quick way to get in touch with someone, and huddle with someone. You have this option right here. So you can huddle with someone. If I click on this option, it will ask them to join this huddle. It's basically a group, quick huddle group that we can have. So if you want to have a quick catch up, and Slack has actually improved the user interface in terms of the huddle and the way it works. That's a way old image of mine. I don't look like that anymore, not any. But I'm just wondering why is my camera taking so much time to load. But essentially, once the other person joins the huddle group, you can have that conversation here and then just end the huddle group right here. It's not a phone call, it's just a huddle that you have with someone. So to explain you, if you are at work and you go around the coffee machine and you're having those conversations, huddle is a really good way to do those conversations, especially when you are in the remote world and working remotely. Huddle is a really good way to communicate with others. Other option is you can make a call to that person as well using Slack. And what I'll do is if I have some time towards the end, I'll also log in from a mobile phone and show you how you can manage Slack download the app and actually use all of this functionality while you are using your Slack mobile app as well. You can call the other person. It came up on this. Again, for some reason, this is loading quite slow. So you can have your call. You can actually do is you can add multiple people to this call. So you can have a conference call right here as well, as far as they're part of your Slack group as well. The good thing is once you are on a call, you can also share screen. So once Yasser answers the call, I can share screen. Sorry, I forgot to mention, you can also share screen when you are huddling with someone. So you can still share screen. And it's a really good way of, for instance, if you are, other apps like you can do Google Meets and things like that, and Zoom, which will allow you to do screen sharing and do presentations. Slack is another way of doing that as well. Zoom has restrictions in terms of time. I haven't come across those restrictions on Slack while using the free version of it. So that's another way you could make use of Slack in your day-to-day work. Then coming to channels. So for instance, if you have, say, for instance, a specific focus group that you're, say, for instance, a specific campaign or a fundraiser that you're working towards, then you can do is you can create a channel for that specifically and go fundraiser, for instance. And then I can choose to make this private, or I can leave it as. For when I leave it, when I don't make it private, I can then add or have anyone added to that channel as part of a Slack group as well. And you can see here, it says share outside. If I want to share it outside, that is when I need the premium version of Slack as well. So those are some of the things that it won't allow you to do, but I can provide a description. So this is for our upcoming fundraiser. I go create, and then it will prompt me to add the people. So I can go, I want to add, say for instance, Yasser, I want to add Mandira or Adeline. So I can add those people. And once I've added that, they might be wondering why I'm creating this group now. So I'll just put test here. Good. So you could create those channels and then collaborate with different users within your organization. If you're working towards a specific project, you can also name that channel to be the specific project you're working on. It doesn't necessarily have to be something like generic as well. And then you also have that generic channel, which is like kind of a default, which you can have. And you can see that the last message on the general chat was by Yasser on the 31st of August, which clearly says that while she hasn't been active in the last few months, but I assure you that's not the case. We generally meet over Google and do our meetings there. I'm not sure. I've been keeping a track of the timing. How am I doing on that? Is that all good?
Yeah, cool. We've got a couple more minutes, but maybe there's some questions.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to take those questions. What I will recommend is if you are really interested, jump onto the Slack website and just go on to the tab, which is the plans. And then it will give you a breakdown of what you can do on the free version, on the professional version, business version, and the enterprise version. Also to give you a quick heads up, if you are working with a not-for-profit, generally these platforms have a not-for-profit discount as well. So, and Slack does have it as well. So you can get in touch with their sales team and request for that. And they do a pretty good deal, I should say, for not-for-profits in majority of the cases. They will ask you for certain documentation, but I assume that should be very straightforward for one to provide as well. I'll stop sharing and happy to take any questions that have come up as well.
Kia ora, Rahil. Really, really great to have that hands-on walkthrough of Slack. And I just said in the chat to with Huye, we also just went from the normal Slack to Pro, and if you are registered with TechSoup, which I think is one of the hidden secrets of not-for-profit management. Lots of people don't know about it, but go on TechSoup and register if you're not-for-profit. It gives you a lot of discounted and free hardware and software. But you can then apply for the Slack Pro really easily because you're already registered and they already know that you are not-for-profit. So
I've got Vishal has raised his hand.
Hi, Rahil. Thank
Hi,
you very
Vishal.
much. Beautiful presentation. Just a quick question.
Sure.
If we log into Slack, then how it will automatically link to our another system which we are using, like we are using Office 365. Like, I think it's very similar to Teams.
Yeah.
So if we are on Google Suite, for example, which we were before,
Yes.
then we would have bought this one, then it would have solved that issue. But if we really wanted to use this one with the existing setup, can we still use it?
So that's a very good question. Let me quickly verify for that. So for Slack integrates with some of the Microsoft products like Teams, so you can do that integration. It also integrates with, I don't know if it applies. Let me quickly verify, but Office as well. I'm just quickly checking. Not with the Office suite itself, but it does with Microsoft Teams.
Okay.
Definitely.
So which means it will complement the team or it will just overlap the team? It should complement, I think, yeah.
Yeah. Because you've also got, now to be very frank, my experience of using Teams is not a whole lot as well. So very limited in that regards. But I kind of see what Slack does. You can, sorry, just to elaborate on the point, once you integrate Microsoft Teams with Slack, what you can do is you can join their calls right from Slack.
Okay.
So you can join the Microsoft Teams call right from. So it's not kind of replacing it. It's just assisting you or making it easier if you have that solution and you're using that currently.
Right.
With the free one, you can integrate up to 10 apps on Slack.
Okay.
And also not trying to be very simple, not using technical jargons, but integration is connecting or making two apps talk to each other as well. And I have also got my Google Calendars actually linked to my Slack. So what it does is when I have a meeting coming up, it will send me a notification. Based on how I have set my notifications on Google Calendars, I get notified on Slack saying I have got an upcoming meeting. And if I'm using Google Suite, it will just give me the option to join the Google Meet. So it will give me the a call to action right on Slack. So I can just click on it, redirect me to Google Meets.
Okay, cool. Good. Thank you. Thanks.
All good. Barbara, I can see you've got your hand raised.
So, thank you. That was really interesting, Rahil. So can you file share in Slack? Like we use Teams for file sharing with people that we were collaborating with and not within the organization directly. Is that available in Slack?
So that's again a good point. Maybe if I'm a Google Drive user, I can integrate Drive with Slack and then link. Right. But if it is in link still, you can still share it as a link with someone on Slack. Yeah, sorry if that, I'm not sure if that answers your question.
No, that helps. I think, that was very helpful. I think looking at all the different integrations would be quite useful, how they all can fit together.
Yeah,
brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you, Rahil, for your presentation today, and thanks so much for joining us. We are going to move to our next speaker, But yeah, ngā mihi nui ki a koe e hoa. So thank you so much, Rahil, for your kōrero today and for taking us through Slack.
Sure. Just before I go, sorry to interrupt, but I'm supposed to jump off for a work meeting. But
Yep.
It was really nice to be here and present to you guys. If there are any other questions, please redirect towards Rania, or you can find me on LinkedIn as well.
Great.
Cool.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
that. Bye. Ka kite. So that was really useful and hopefully helpful to you guys. So our third speaker today is Andrés Proaño. Andrés is a Tauiwi Latino techie living in Te Whanganui-a-Tara. He currently works as a senior trainer and tech lead at Developers Institute. And I know Andrés from his time at Action Station and also running a small charity called Migrants Aotearoa. So Andrés will be talking about Asana and how the software's Kanban workflow allows him to organize all his tasks with visibility over task progress and more. So really great to have you, Andrés, and yeah, please tell us more about Asana.
Thank you very much, Ronya. It's actually Andrés Proaño, not Proaño, but that's all right for all of you. Let me share my screen. Okay, perfect. All right, so Asana. Asana is one of my favorite tools for project management, and I'm going to be showing you a bit of the features. There is a free plan, which is completely, well, it's completely free, but also basic features, but it's still powerful enough. I used to use this at Action Station as well, and I use it for some personal projects as well myself. So after you create your account, create a test account here, you will be greeted with this dashboard. Generally, you will want to create your first project. And I recommend you select a blank project. And you can select your team, which I will speak of it in a bit. And I'll definitely select board, because this is a methodology called Kanban that I would like to show you. Okay, go to project. Okay, as you can see here, it creates columns with states and or statuses. And basically, they gives you to do, in progress, and complete. I always like to create another one called review and move it here. Yeah. Oh, no, never mind. In between. Yeah, to do, in progress, review, and complete. But it can be any title. You can change it anytime you want. Immediately, you can start creating a task. Generally, they already created one for you, but I'm just going to delete it for the sake of this presentation. Click on Add Task. You can start just writing a small description of it. For example, you click out, you click again, you have this nice panel. You can assign to people. You can put a due date. And of course, you can create even subtasks here. And all of that. You can put more detail here, and you can have a conversation between different team members about the progress of the task. When it's ready to be started, you move it into the in progress column. And you can continue the conversation in the same way. Maybe you want to change the due date when it's ready to be reviewed, move it to the review column, and when it's ready to be when it's done, basically. Let me change that to done. You move it again, and you mark it as done. And that is the flow that I like to follow. So 1 second. There you go. So on your left, you have all your projects, your team members as well. You can see your team page. You can see your team members here.
Andrés, can you zoom in a little bit more?
Absolutely.
Yep. Thank you.
Is this better?
Yes.
Okay. So you can see your team members. You can see again your project. And I also logged in here as the other user. Basically, I'm trying to demo this, and I can go to the project. Let me refresh this. Once you log in as the other user, I think you have to invite someone public to our team. Okay, let me assign this task to my tasks. Yeah, because it's done, I'm not gonna see it, so it's all right. So I'm gonna just keep going with this FINA person. Okay, so once you create your tasks, you will have visibility over what else you need to do. You can just really easily create tasks. Just type in the description, press enter. And you can continue. And you have full visibility of everything that you need to do. Another option that you can, if you want to rename the columns, let's create another project. Blank project. And you can just, for example, change that. Opportunities, for example, under consideration. Applying, and then funded, and so forth. Yeah, and you can create different opportunities in lotteries, for example, and so forth. And as the application moves, you can move it the same. Basically, columns. You can add any number of columns. You can have, I believe, in the free plan, you can have up to 10 members. Let's see if you can invite a teammate. You can invite with an email. You can put an email address here. And you can put multiple email addresses here. I'm just going to use my email addresses for now. Yeah. And you click send, and they will be invited. And they will get an email saying FINA or the project owner has invited you to this project. They can create their own account and then come to this project. And they even start appearing here. And you can have different permissions. For example, if you just want someone to comment or view, view and comment will be good. Otherwise, they can edit and they can add more tasks and so forth. Another interesting option here is, let me see if I can show you here. You can, when you edit your project details, you can basically reassign teams. You can create multiple teams. You can create another team if you want to. What else can you do? Here, you can essentially, you can export, you can print your information, or you can import CSV or email. CSV is a column-based data format. You will probably have to look a bit more into the documentation to check about that, but there's ways to basically get data in Asana and get data outside of Asana. You have different overviews of a project here. You can have different status. Another interesting option is you can create tags. For example, add a tag. I can just put that as important, for example. I can create a tag important and I make it a particular color. So then you know that when you see this, it will be class as important. Yep, you can see the tag here. All right. You can attach files as well. You can use attachments. You can choose from Google Drive, from even SharePoint as well, Dropbox, or your own computer. So it's actually quite versatile about organizing and managing workflows. What else I can show you here? You can make the project public. I wouldn't recommend this, but if there is a collaboration between different organizations and you trust them, you can create a public link and keep it just between the groups as well. And yeah, I don't think I can show you anything else for now from the basic features, but I'll be happy to take your questions.
Kia ora, Andrés. Thank you so much for showing us how you use Asana. So are there any questions from those in the room about Asana? I know we moved through it quite quickly, but some of you might be using it yourself. If you have any experience you want to share as well, let's go to you, Barbara.
Thank you. That was a really good run through, Andrés. Calendars. Does it? You have to sync that with a Google Calendar, or
Would I believe?
Like to
Yes,
see? So when you look at that calendar view, is that something that you can only see if you've got a different paid plan, or you have to sync that with or optionally sync it with a Google Calendar? I'm very visual, so I like to see everything all at once in terms of timeframes and things. So that really helps me.
Yeah, generally what happens is if you have a task assigned with a due date, I believe you'll see it in your calendar.
Do you have to sync it though with an external calendar?
No. I believe that, let's see, I don't think that there's a way that you can sync with your calendar. This is your calendar for Asana. So when you have your board and you have due dates, you can see it in your calendar like that. You can also see just the task assigned to yourself if you go to My Tasks.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right. You're welcome.
Kia ora. Vishal, if you've got a really quick question, we can take it.
Okay. Yeah, very quick question. Is this we are on Microsoft, so can we still use this particular tool to organize the team? For example, we have recruited 4 new team members recently, but it looks like in the last 6 months our community output or outcome has not increased that much. So I really wanted to reorganize tasks and other things. So does the other team members whom we want to allocate tasks must need to learn about this, or only one person, the admin, can manage Asana and manage their tasks and keep telling them?
Oh, I mean, you can create a single account for one person to manage the tasks, but if you want them to interact, you will add them in the team, and then they will have access to Asana. So it really depends on the way that you want to handle your project. If you want to just put everything in Asana, just one admin manages that and then just communicates tasks in a different way, that is perfectly fine. I will definitely recommend you bring them into Asana, because not only you will get a full history and audit of conversations and actions and movements from one column to another, and you can basically have all your information instead of jumping from one place to another. I don't know if you can sync Office 365 with Asana. However, there are some ways that if you export some of your data from Office 365 using a format called CSV, you can import it here. I haven't done that because I have not worked with Office 365, unfortunately, but it will be interesting for you to play around with it.
But is it a Google product, you mean, or is it a standalone product?
It's a standalone. It's not Google. Asana is a different company.
Kia ora. Thank you for your part-time, Vishal, and thank you, Andrés, for your kōrero. I know you have to dash off, so thank you so much. And it's also nearly 1 o'clock. So I just want to, thank you again, Andrés, for your time. Ngā mihi nui ki a kia. And so before we wrap up, so one thing I'd love to invite you to is to stick around a little bit longer. We will stop the recording in a moment, but stay around and we can have some more kōrero. If you've got any more questions, we'll try and answer them as much as we can, but also an opportunity for us to get to know you a bit better and just, have a kōrero together. Also, I would have loved to invite Barbara. Barbara, please stay on the call after 1, because I think the digital stuff we love, kaupapa, is really, really great. It's a really great opportunity for community groups to learn more about the different tools available. And so jump on. I just want to share my screen real quick. And this is something that Barbara and Marion have shared with us, and we will make that available to everybody as well. So it just gives an overview of digital stuff we love. Community Net, Aotearoa, if you haven't discovered it, jump on. A lot of really great resources there in NZ Navigator Trust. And there's some more information about the different tools, so you can search by different categories on there. So, but I'm moving quickly because I know people need to go. So I just wanted to thank everybody. He mihi nui tēnei ki a koutou katoa, ki o koutou whakaaro, tautoko, me te wā tahi I tēnei rā. So thank you all for tuning in today. And special thanks to our speakers and our partner, NZ Navigator Trust. I also want to acknowledge all our speakers for this series, and here they are, for sharing how they use certain tools and their experiences. So jump back on to our previous sessions. They're all available on our website at hui.org.nz. And we really hope that you come away from this series with a better understanding of the digital tools that are available to you and how to use them to help build your community. So this marks the end of our spring series, but of course there'll be more in the new year and it's summer. So keep up to date with our mahi by joining us on our website. It's free, but also, invite you to jump on digital stuff we love as well. So on that note, I would like to hand over to Saka to close us with a karakia.
Kia ora Ronia, karakia whakamotanga. Kia tau, kia tato katoa, te atawhai o tō tato ariki, o ihu karaiti me te aroha, o te atua, me te whiwhinga tahitanga, ki te wairua tapu, ake, amene.